Back on Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you get there, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment as well. I always read through all the comments that you leave, good, bad, or otherwise, and I'll wait for your apologies on some things. But anyway, also free and available on all of your favorite podcast platforms, which include Spotify, Odyssey. Download us for free, leave us a 5-star review, and then follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Was I surprised by any of the Falcons' cuts yesterday? Not entirely. I hated to see Auden Tate get cut. I really had high hopes for Auden Tate that he could come in and be a part of this offense, and this was a golden opportunity for him to try to get his NFL career back on track, but didn't quite work out, so not really surprised by any of the cuts. One guy who's going to be very interesting to watch still that maybe a few weeks ago we thought was a complete lock for the 53-man roster is Feleipe Franks. Now, he's in a tough spot this week. Why do I say that? Well, you're at the final game of the preseason, and based upon what he did against the Jets, where when he played quarterback, he was 2 for 6 for 8 yards, 1.3 yards per attempt, and he took 2 sacks. He actually lost 18 yards in sacks and only threw for 8. And I'm going to say this as nicely as I possibly can, okay? Because I know the comments already. I can already see you down there telling me, oh, he's hating on him. Feleipe Franks has no business playing quarterback in the NFL. He is not an NFL quarterback. Now, again, I give him all the credit in the world, and I'll quote my friend Steve Weish when he talked about on my show that Feleipe Franks is doing what Tim Tebow wasn't willing to do, and that's change positions to keep himself in the NFL, right? And if you look the first couple weeks of camp, he did a lot of good things. And I thought he showed out a little bit in the Detroit Lions game, but you saw he can't play quarterback in this league. You know, he didn't do anything to help his wide receivers out. Can he run? Yeah, he can pick up some yards on the run, but you can't take those kinds of hits that he takes and play quarterback in the NFL. And you don't keep an emergency quarterback on your roster just to say you have an emergency quarterback. Teams don't do that. But you do stash one of those guys on your practice squad. So, first off, let me say, I think that he's going to be on the practice squad. I don't think he's going to make the 53-man roster. When you look at Pitts and Hesse and Frisker and Fitzpatrick, I think they've got plenty of guys that can play tight end even over Franks, okay? And his emergency quarterback status means zilch in the NFL. You don't keep a guy because he's an emergency quarterback. If you have to get to the point where you play Feleipe Franks at quarterback in an NFL game, you might as well just throw in the towel. You might as well be Rocky Balboa and throw in the towel like you did for Apollo Creed, right? And just be done with all of it. So anyway, he's in a tough spot this week because if the Falcons want to rest Mariota, because you're coming off a short week, remember, game on Monday, game on Saturday, co-practices in between, right? We got practices together with the Jaguars. So if you want to rest Mariota in this final week of the preseason and play Ritter and start Ritter, you probably don't want Ritter to have to play the entire game or put him in harm's way. So it's going to stick Franks in at quarterback, which, if he's having to prepare and get ready for that, pulls him away from being able to get mixed up in the offense at the tight end position, because we need to see something out of him in game action. You know, when I've been to practice, when I've been to training camp practices, I like what I've seen. And I like some of the things that he's done. I like some of the one-on-ones. I liked a couple of things I saw out of him in the Detroit Lions game, first preseason game. You know, he had to learn to get his body adjusted, his footwork right, but that's learning a new position. But then against the Jets, it was nothing. The only thing we really saw of him was his quarterback play. And that final drive where they got to 1st and goal at the 5-yard line, which, again, I have no idea why they didn't run the football there, but when they let Franks drop back and I mean, it was fugly to watch all that, right? So he's in a tough spot coming up this week, and I wonder how they're going to use him. Now, we'll talk more about this in just a second, but first, let me talk about my friends over at Coffee AM, coffeeam.com. Listen, I had an event I had to do this morning for Mercedes-Benz, the Atlanta Falcons, and everything like that. But as I was headed out the door, I made sure I made me a pot of my favorite coffee in the world, coffeeam.com, right here in America, right? Not right here in America, of course they're in America, right here in the state of Georgia, up in the Canton area. They're the best small batch coffee roaster in America. And listen, you're looking for K-Cups, you're looking for organic, you're looking for flavored, whatever it is that you're looking for, coffeeam.com is the place to go. And here's what we got going on for you. Head to coffeeam.com/locked on. coffeeam.com/LOCKEDON. Get there, look through the menu, all kinds of different things. You want coffee, you want tea, you're looking for mugs, gift sets, whatever like that. Look through what they have available to you. Put that first order together. And when you get to the checkout, use the coupon code LOCKED ON, LOCKEDON. Put LOCKED ON as the coupon code at checkout. You get 15% off that first order of coffees, teas, gift sets, whatever it is that you're purchasing at coffeeam.com. 15% off simply by using LOCKED ON as the coupon code at checkout. Coffeeam.com. They are the best small batch coffee roaster in America. But you'd like to see, if they're not going to play Mariota, you want to see Franks get reps at tight end and get them. Look, we know Pitts is going to make the team. We know that, Hesse is going to make the team. So we know the first couple of tight ends. Now you're trying to sort out the rest of the guys, the Friskers and the Fitzpatricks and the Feleipe Franks and things like that. Because, look, Franks isn't going to make this team as a quarterback. And you can see he's got no business playing quarterback in the NFL. I give him all the credit in the world. What he's doing is immensely difficult. And Steve Weiss is right. This is what Tebow wasn't willing to do. But he's got to make his bones there. So I think he's in a tough spot to make the final 53-man roster. I think he stays on the practice squad, which you like to have at least somebody on your practice squad that can play quarterback, because you never know about injury or anything like that. But I don't think that he's going to be on the 53, unless you tell me that he has a huge week of practice and he gets a chance to get some offensive snaps and get in the rhythm a little bit of this offense. I think it's going to be tough for him. And I like Franks. I like what he's done. I like his mindset. When you talk to him, he's been very, what do I want to say? Very, open to the idea of changing positions, right? He's been very accommodating, if you will, about switching to a different position. But at the end of the day, you have to show that you belong. You have to be able to produce. You can't just put a guy on. Look, I love Jared Bernhardt. I think he's going to make the team, but you don't just put guys on your roster because they're a good story, right? Because you might get a good headline on Sports Center or something like that, or they could do a feature on them on NFL Network or whatever like that. You have to make sure your 53-man roster, that every spot on that is ready to play. It's the old Bill Parcells philosophy. I'll upgrade the very bottom of my roster if it means I get better. Even if those guys never see the field, if I can get my roster better at the bottom, I'll do that. So Franks has a big week ahead of him. And I don't think it's a matter of the Falcons are going to move on or walk away from him or things like that. But if he's going to play quarterback on Saturday in that game, which I think there's a definite possibility that he is, because I don't expect to see Mariota, and I don't think they want to push Desmond Ridder through the whole game, Franks needs a few snaps on offense. And, again, playing quarterback and tucking and running it and all that kind of stuff, that's no life to live in the NFL. So we'll see what happens on Saturday, but Franks is in a tough spot right now as far as how the 53-man roster is going to be constructed. Okay, when we get back, the Hawks did the right thing. I'll talk about that next. Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked on Sports Atlanta.